Hi, and welcome. My name is Janice Carter. I will be doing a presentation on older. Hello, my name is Janice Carter, and welcome to my older adult oral video presentation. The developmental stage of Erickson's biopsychosocial therapy I chose is stage 8, old age, integrity versus despair. This age group starts at 65 years old. At this age, Erickson notes that people reflect back on their life, and depending on what they have accomplished, will lead them to feel proud that will give them integrity. Or if they have regrets, they will experience despair. A person will be proud of what they accomplished and become satisfied that they did what they were supposed to do over their lifetime. An older adult will have regrets of not achieving important roles to them and feel the despair of opportunity lost forever. When applying this biopsychosocial approach for Ruby, who is 74 years old, she had experienced both integrity and despair when she reflected back on her life. Her and her colleagues note that a person cannot achieve integrity without having at least one regret, and they cannot have just regrets without having something to be proud of. And this will leave a person between the two constructs of Erickson's theory on old age. When we talked about Ruby's experiences, when in her old age, and she reflected back on, Ruby discussed how she became depressed and did not want to live after her husband died. She said that they finally started to like each other again when he went to work one day and never returned. Ruby felt despair and grief when her husband died because she felt that there was unfinished life for them to live together. After the death of Ruby's husband, she noted that she did not take care of her health and had a major stroke at 69. It was difficult for Ruby to accept her husband's death, and as Erickson notes that individuals in this type of circumstances will experience despair from feeling anger and regret. This despair can leave a person's physical, cognitive, and social health that's coming from Good Case and Love at 2016. Good Case and Love 2016 also asserts that therapy can assist a person in older age to adjust to the challenges as their identity changes. Concerning her education, Ruby talked about how it was too late for her to go back to school and get her high school diploma. She said that I'm too old to care right now. Ruby has accepted that she will never get her high school diploma and realizing that just was not the plan for her life. Erickson knows that a person will gain a sense of integrity when they accept that a life goal will never be met. Speaking of her accomplishments, Ruby had a 70th birthday party that she was very proud to have, especially after she had not taken care of her health like she should have. It seemed like it was a rite of passage for older adults in her community. She talked about how she's been able to talk to her grandchildren about her life experiences, and like she said, hopefully talk some sense into them. Erickson would identify Ruby's birthday celebration and wisdom that she's instilling in her children as an accomplishing a life goal that gives her integrity and sense of fulfillment. When we talk about Ruby's challenges and accomplishments, I first want to talk about her challenges. Concerning the death of her husband, Ruby mentioned that he was part of all her adult life and she did not know how to live without him. She also talked about how angry she was because they were finally enjoying life together. She said that it felt like she had lost her identity. Erickson's non-exploring for older persons is applied here to Ruby because Ruby experienced identity foreclosure, which meaning that she stayed within the cultural aspects of her youth. This also gives for Ruby that she had the same purpose as her mothers and other married women in her community, and she never ventured out of those cultural expectations. Concerning her stroke, she then talked about how she did not take her medication regularly because she was so depressed after her husband died. From what she was sharing and looking through the lens of Erickson, she was not accepting this crisis of her husband's death as an opportunity for growth. She saw it as living the rest of her life in grief and despair. Applying Erickson's theory of stage 8, Ruby had not viewed this experience as a time of integrity because she was not coping appropriately to the death of her husband. When considering Ruby's education is very limited, Eric notes that persons in their old age find integrity by repurposing themselves when they have acquired skills rather than maintaining feelings of despair when opportunities for personal achievement no longer exist. That's from Perry et al., 2015. Ruby's accomplishments was her 70th birthday party again. There was so many people she attended. She really loved talking about her big birthday party. She would start naming all the people that were there. She was happy that she had touched so many people's lives. Erickson would call Ruby an integrated person because she affirmed who she was. She affirmed her worth through the commitment she made with her family and friends. That's Hearn et al., 2011. We talk about the crisis of Ruby. Roger know that a crisis can be seen as an opportunity for growth or will be a determinant factor for grief and sorrow. When I asked Ruby about how the crisis of her husband's death changed her life, Ruby noted that she lost the will to live. She said that it was hard not having someone to look after, especially with all the children out of the house. Ruby's identity was attributed to those she cared for. Now she was faced with the question of Erickson's theory, who am I? She talked about how she would have launched a career or went back to school, how she should have launched a career and went back to school and got her high school diploma. When she reflected back on her choices, it produced the regrets of not securing her own identity. Concerning her depression, Ruby said that when she talked about how she was feeling with her doctor, she noted that her doctor advised her that what she was experiencing was normal for people of her age and sent her home. Not addressing the depression was a disservice to Ruby by not allowing her to be effectively treated. Good Case in Love, 2016, notes that older adults account for 15% of completed suicide because they are not effectively treated for depression. And due to this acceptance of being a normal behavior for older adults by the medical community, others like Ruby are overlooked for mental health treatment. Ruby talked about how concerned her family had become because she was not taking her medication as prescribed. It resulted in her stroke. She said that her children felt like she was trying to kill herself on purpose. Roger knows that this type of crisis in stage 8 is concerning because again, they have 15% of a completed suicide. So due to these limitations, Ruby had to move in with her daughter. Ruby understood that her health would affect her for the rest of her life and used this crisis as an opportunity for growth rather than surrendering to despair, and started taking her medication regularly. Then Ruby talked about the crisis of not having an education and how it affected her functioning after her husband died. She talked about how she had to come to an understanding that if she would have pursued an education or had at least some career, the loss of her husband would not have been so devastating because everything she was involved with him. Rather, as one study found, Ruby's psychosocial underdevelopment caused a decline in her cognitive abilities due to a lack of education when an older person experienced crisis, meaning that Nessa Malone et al. 2015, meaning that if older adults don't have the education or something of their own personal growth in their old age, their cognitive ability evidently has not been developed, and so they will suffer more so and have problems, difficulties in their cognitive functioning.